Welcome to The Love Affair, a relationship podcast. Listen in as we discuss all things love and relationships starting now. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Love Affair, a relationship podcast. I'm your host, Robin, also known as Robin the Renaissance.
And I'm her husband and co-host, Jibby K, and we're back with our final episode of our Fighting to Win series.
Yes. Over the past few episodes, we have been walking through how we learned to effectively manage conflict and reach conflict resolution in our 20 years of marriage. So in our first episode, you guys remember we went back to where it all began and we discussed our childhood and how our early teachers modeled conflict resolution behaviors and all that stuff, and what it taught us and how it influenced our worldview of conflict and the fighting styles that we brought into our marriage. And we talked about, the pitfalls of not managing arguments and conflict effectively. We even revealed in our last episode the champion fighter. So if you didn't get caught up on all of that, you still have time. Go watch all of that. Today, we are going to wrap up the series with an episode titled Breach and Repair, because we know conflicts will happen, arguments will happen, and when they do, we want to make sure that we move through that successfully, because we want to keep our relationship intact.
Yes.
Intact, and if we do it right, it'll be better than before, right?
Healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We learn and grow. So.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we said this title is called Breach and Repair. And I'm going to define breach for us the way that
You coming up with your own?
Well, yeah, for the sake of our series, because I know breach can mean a myriad of things, but in the context of relationship, we're talking about a barrier, specifically a barrier that is impeding the relationship. So my personal definition for breach, we talked about it. This is what we came up with. Anything that disrupts the unity, chemistry, and forward motion of the relationship. It can be minor, it could be major. It can be unintentional, and it can be very intentional. It can be spontaneous or an accumulation of things. Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? But in any case, whichever side of the scale you're on, anything that disrupts unity, chemistry, and forward motion of the relationship is what will cause a breach.
All right. So we're starting your Robin's dictionary now. So that's your own definition. Okay, then.
Yes.
That was a good one. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
And when we were talking about breaches, I know we were talking about what would you consider an argument? Well, is that just a disagreement? Is it an argument? Is it a conflict? And it's all the minutia of that. And I say any of it, all of it.
Yeah.
What
you're saying, it doesn't have to always, I guess you're saying it doesn't have to be an argument, is what you're saying, right? It can be the smallest things or something, because I go back to, I say it this way, because you remember we talked before, I always thought any kind of disagreement was an argument. So are you just saying like a breach doesn't have to be that major where it's a fallout argument? It could just be differences of opinion or something like that, or is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it could be anything that you allow to disrupt the unity, chemistry, or forward motion of the relationship.
Okay. Robin's dictionary.
So it can be something like, what would you like for dinner? And you're saying, I want chicken. And then I'm saying, well, you know what? I want fish. We can't move forward through that right? We're not on the same page.
Okay.
So we got to have a conversation to figure things out. So it can be something as minor as that, and it could be something major as, hey, we just won the lottery. What are we going to do with what's the jackpot? I don't even know right now. Well, what are we going to do with
it could be
our
$1 million,
yeah. You said million?
Million.
I went
You
big.
said billion?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to save it all. And I'm like, and I want to spend it all.
And therein lies the problem.
So it's a disagreement. It's something that's creating disunity, and we're not able to move forward from that point. So,
Gotcha.
Let's talk about some of the enemies of progress, right? Because we said a breach is something that can prevent forward motion. Here are 2 culprits that I feel. You can add to it if you think it's more than 2.
Okay.
But I personally feel that ego and our imagination, they are enemies of progress. Anytime there's a breakdown, a breach, and I might use these words interchangeably, conflict, argument, disagreement, whatever, everything comes back to breach. Right? So when there is a breach and you're trying to move forward, if we allow our ego and then our creative imagination to lead us, we won't get very far.
Would you consider selfishness as part of ego? Would you put that, because if you want to add on another word, selfishness or self-centered can be a hindrance. So but I guess you could put it on the broad umbrella of ego.
Yeah, so, I would definitely add those there. I would add pride, because it will show up as pride. It will show up as selfishness, as self-centeredness. It can show up in a lot of different ways, but for me, in the simplest terms, I say ego.
Yeah.
My ego, okay, because I always like to start from inside and work out. My ego will cause me to think that I am much better than I actually am.
What?
And guess what? Your ego does the same.
No, don't it? You say you like talking about you. You just stay on you. I will talk about me when I feel like I want to talk about me. You stay on you.
I am saying that. I like to start.
Closing my eyes.
Open your eyes.
Right.
I said I like to start from within and then move out. So I went in and then I went out.
You go out that way. Don't go out over here.
And I said, yours too.
Sure. Okay.
But it does. Would you agree? Does your ego make you think that you are much better than you actually are, especially in the ring of conflict?
Sure. Yeah. It that I'm better. Yeah, I always, most of the time I feel like I'm right, and ain't nothing you can do or say that's gonna get me off my what you call it, your high horse, or my
soapbox,
my
whatever.
Soapbox, all that. Oh yeah. I get to that point where you have to prove to me that I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So,
and when we
I start asking questions, but it's not like it's not really a clarifying question. It's like, what do you mean? And it's kind of more of an aggressive thing.
Tell us all your business.
I'm not yet.
Okay.
So I usually my ego is I think and believe I'm right. Yeah.
I agree.
You ain't gotta agree like that.
I'm saying I agree with you about you.
That's what I'm saying.
And I agree with you about me as well.
You're supposed to start inward first. You
okay.
did that. You did that backwards. Anyway.
All right. Keep me honest. Okay. Okay. And now imagination, because I think imagination is just as
dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's an equal force as ego, because my imagination causes me to think that they are worse than they actually are. So if my ego is telling me I'm better than I am, my imagination helps me to believe that they're actually worse than they are.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think.
Just say yes and amen.
Okay, sure.
Hello, lights.
Okay, all right. No, I was just trying to think of, I was looking inward.
Oh, yeah.
At myself.
Okay. Take your time.
I don't want to try to make it sound like I'm just. Again, this is maybe me trying to thinking I'm better and always right, but I feel like my imagination always tends to lead more towards, not always, more towards giving the other person the benefit of the doubt.
It does?
Yes.
Without getting information first?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
mine.
Okay.
More often than not,
Yeah.
my thought process is like, they didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean? They may not mean it in a negative way, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's where I tend to go to first. Not saying having that kind of thought process or I don't know if that's an emotion or not, but having that thought process doesn't mean I'm still not feeling some kind of way, like I'm some kind of anger or frustration on my part. It's not like I'm not void of that, but it's like, okay, I'm giving them a bit of a doubt, you know, that, you know, it could be having a bad day, or maybe they misspoke.
I like that. I like hearing your process. Thank you for talking that out, because yes, that is generally how you are. And I am generally not. Depending on the person, depending on the issue. But in the context of our marriage, I have learned to, because I know you at your core and your heart, your intention. So I know you're not doing things deliberately to get under my skin.
Not always.
Yeah, unless, you know, that little petty part of you comes back up and rears its head. Yeah.
That doesn't happen often.
It doesn't. But when it does, we're generally on vacation when it happens.
Oh, see, you gonna do that.
Okay, fine.
No.
We're gonna stay on center.
Just please do, because we might get on some vacation talk later. And then you can bring it up then, maybe.
Well, you know,
we'll see if
I feel like you ain't really married and you ain't really in love if you don't fight on vacation at least once.
Yeah. We've had multiple.
Vacation arguments are the absolute worst, right? Okay, but anyway, getting back to center.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? We are talking about ego and imagination, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying that I have this illustration that I will share, right? Okay. Two people can experience the same event, okay? They can be present during the same event and leave that experience with two totally different perspectives, right? So a lot of times our ego and our imagination causes us to distort the event. We only see it the way we see it, and we can only recall what was important to us, right? Yeah. And science has proven that it's not always accurate, right? So eyewitness testimony, a lot of things like that, it's not very valid because of our own biases, our own lens, our own perspective of things. We're not always accurate in how we perceive things.
Yeah, I think I heard like some doctor or something say that once you remember something, small details changes over time or something like that. Like every time you remember it, small detail may change, or you know.
Yep.
Oh, well, I understand that.
For sure, because if you tell the same story over and over, you're gonna change some details in the story. The bad guy in the story will get even more
he get
malicious and worse, and he turns into a big, and then he's hairy, and then he's angry, and then he's loud, and then he's, you know, so it keeps growing.
Okay.
But I go back to this illustration, and I shared this with you maybe a month ago as I was thinking about it, how I remember in elementary school when the teacher would hand out black and white worksheets for all of us. It would be time for us to color. And I remember that all of us were given the same black and white worksheet. And let's say this worksheet was a picture of a house and a house with grass. So, and a sun. We would then all have the same black and white facts on this worksheet, right? But each of us would use our creativity to select colors from the coloring box, and we would color in this worksheet based on our own ideas.
Your own lens.
Our own lens. So some of us would color the sun yellow. Some of us would paint our house one shade. Some of us would make our grass green, and some people would draw flowers in theirs, and some people's homes would be multicolored. They'd add shutters and windows, and some people who were really good, they would outline the borders of like the outline. They would draw that black line. They would color on that. I was a person that usually colored inside the lines, but I noticed other people would color on the lines. And so they might make their sun orange with orange and yellow rays.
Yeah.
They might make their sun add clouds to their blue sky, you know, and then so they would just add all this
Stuff.
flair to their pictures. And at the end of coloring session, our teacher would collect our paperwork, pin it up there on the bulletin board, and we can all see everybody's work. And you could see just how different it was for each one of us to interpret this picture, this black and white worksheet of the bare bones of it's a sky, it's a house, and it's grass. And you just see it. So I would liken that to a conflict, a disagreement, any type of event that causes a breach. We may have been present, but the way that we color in the facts of what happened will vary. And when we put our images side by side, and I'm like trying to explain to you, this is how I saw it.
Yeah.
And you're looking at my picture saying, I didn't see it like that at all. Here's what I saw. This is what was going on. And I'm looking at yours and I can see like, your picture don't really look like my picture. So how did we get here? Hey there, are you enjoying the conversation as much as we are? Then let us know. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're here every other Thursday with a brand new episode, and you do not want to miss it. Okay, all right, back to the conversation.
It's something I just thought about that.
What's that?
I think a lot of that is tied to personality as well. If you take you and I, you're a very creative, colorful individual.
I am.
You know, humble much? Okay. But no, you're very, you use a lot of color in your language, in your descriptions. You like to tell stories, you know what I mean? And me, I'm more of ABC, get, this, and that's it. You know what I mean? So even in a conflict, you may even see more, or you may just be adding more with your imagination. You were talking about your imagination.
Yeah, my imagination.
With my imagination and with my personality, it's a little less. So
you're minimalist.
Yeah. So I think that adds to it could add to the breach or the conflict. You know what I mean? Because we don't, because we don't see it the same way. So that automatically adds I don't know what you want to call that. Adds a different element to the conflict. So
yeah, it does. It does. And so even just starting at that point, just coming in knowing that, okay, I had this experience and my experience might be unique to me. The other party may not be. What's it called? None the wiser that I'm over here having this experience.
Right.
So when it's time to bring it up to them, I need to be very aware that they may not see it the way that I saw it.
Right.
They may not understand it the way that I do. And I need to just allow a little space and then a little grace for that, And
that's a learned behavior. It really is a learned behavior, you know what I mean? So, excuse me. Yeah.
Are you like
I
cracking your
cracked
knuckles?
my knuckles. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
Are you thinking about is this conflict not conflict? This conversation around
Discussing.
conflict
Yeah,
got you like
I'm
cracking?
ready. I'm ready.
Oh my God, I can't even crack my knuckles. I don't even want to.
I don't think that's healthy. I don't think you should start. I've
Okay.
seen stuff like that.
I used to as a kid, but I can't even do it anymore right now.
Yeah, it's getting me riled up. I'm ready to fight.
Stop.
No, joking.
Okay. So here's my anecdote to tempering the ego and imagination that is distorting the facts. Okay. My anecdote with that is mindfulness. And I'm a huge mindfulness person. I like contemplative practices. So a lot of times it's important to me to, there's this quote, wherever you are and whatever you do, always consider the state of your mind. So when I am aware that an event has taken place, no matter again how minor, major, intentional, unintentional, something occurred. I am now aware of the state of my mind. And I'm working through, for me, what emotions are pinging for me, what do I feel like I need in this moment? Like I try to be very aware of the sensations and the things that are happening in my body and my mind so that I don't act impulsively. Because in the past, when I wasn't so tuned in, I might be quick to say something or do something, be very reactive. And then I have to come back and be like, oops, it didn't require all that, So I start inside like, oh, I'm noticing, I'm starting to feel a certain way. And so once I'm more aware of the state of my mind, I work through a couple different things, but I try to decipher, is this really a problem or is this just a problem for me at this time, And then I go through some things to figure it out. But for the most part, I am always considerate of my state of mind. And when I get to the point where I want to offer feedback, I make a decision. Am I about to say something that's going to call this person out? Or am I going to use this as an opportunity to call this person in? And we talked about that a little bit before in a previous episode or two, that there are behaviors that we can engage in that will definitely just call a person out. If you just want to finger point, if you just want to check people, if you just want to keep it real and say, I caught that shade and let me give it back.
Yeah.
You can do that if you want to. That's a total waste of energy for me, I've discovered. And it doesn't leave the relationship in any better position than before. It usually is worse. So I do a lot of internal work first. So I try to choose to, okay, this person may not know, you may not know, I'm aware something was said or done. I want to call you in and let you know, hey, this is an opportunity for you to get a little understanding and then govern yourself accordingly. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
In a nicer way than that, right?
Now it is in a nicer way.
Right. And even when you are on the receiving end of feedback, when somebody is now approaching you, because you taught me this, you teach me so many wonderful things.
I do?
Yeah, you do.
Tell the people more.
Listen.
I'm just playing.
I used to be, I am a confrontational person. Like, I don't run from conflict, but I'm also not the type that my feet are not swift to run and do evil. Like, I'm not a person that just looks for a fight and is like, challenge, let me go get into it with so-and-so today. No, I'm not confrontational like that. I'm confrontational in that if I sense there is something going on, I'm willing to approach it and say,
you make the first step?
Yeah, I can. I will make the first step and say, hey, I noticed, is there something there? It could just be me, but are you sensing something?
Yeah.
I can do that. So while I was learning better ways to communicate my grievances, like there's a whole lot of books and podcasts and people out there that will teach you, classes you can take to be a better communicator and share your point of view.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of that, right? But sometimes there isn't enough teaching or instruction on how to receive it.
Right.
I found, you know, so I'm like, yeah, I know how to have a critical conversation. Was it crucial conversations?
yeah.
I know how to have these things, but from my lens of just getting it out of me and then going, blah, putting it out for you. And then you were like, you got to be mindful that sometimes I'm going along in my day.
Or anybody, like
Okay.
you going to your example that you're robbing or sensing something. There's something here, and then you go to that person and say, "I notice X, Y, Z." Me, we just do it like you coming to me and saying you notice something X, Y, Z, and I've just been going on for 2, 3, 4 days, just skipping along, zippity doo dah. You know what I mean? I'm thinking everything is great and cool, you know what I mean? And then we have a sit down conversation and I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? It feels like a blindside.
Yes.
So, you know me, my go-to or immediate reaction a lot of times with these kind of things is I get defensive. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people maybe experience that if they felt blindsided, not blindsided in a malicious way, but you just, it came out of nowhere. I'm thinking everything is good. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to, in that moment, to be receptive, to receive it, and to be like, oh, I didn't mean it that way, or I'm sorry you feel that way, or something. You know what I mean? It's harder to do it in that moment because that person just feels blindsided. So yeah, I think it's, in conflict, everybody needs to be mindful of everything really, or as much as you can, you know what I mean? So, it's just, it's a lot of, like you said, it's just a lot of talk of
delivering your message.
How to deliver it effectively. But yeah, I don't think I've heard any kind of instruction or teaching on how to receive it.
Equally effectively.
Effectively.
Yeah.
So
sorry to finish your sentences, but I'm
I need help
because
because I'm sleepy. So you're gonna need to finish a lot of my sentences today.
No,
yeah.
I'm thinking through it with you, and that's so true. So maybe that's a niche that we can exploit in another podcast episode.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
But you did tell me that you were like, if it comes off like a blindside, then I don't have time to really take this in and process it immediately because it's new to you, whereas I might have spent the last few minutes thinking through the state of my mind. I might have even spent the last days or months. So I've had time and it's new to you. So expecting you to be able to process and pivot like you need to in the moment. Depending on the topic and the issue, it may be challenging, you know? So I'm just keeping that in mind as well.
All right.
So it's considering the state of the mind whenever I'm on the giving end, what's my intentions behind that? And then on the receiving end, is this person calling me out or is this person calling me in? And that is such I use that phrase so much.
Calling out and calling in.
Yeah, because it really does make a huge difference. People can sense that energy. Let me be clear.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel the energy change when somebody is like, you know what? I really wanted to talk to you about something. And they lead with their authentic, vulnerable selves versus, how you gonna come in here just doing this, that, and the other? You're like, you ain't got no home train. If they come off kind of a little different, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Nuck if you buck.
I'm all about bucking. I'm not. I'm not.
Boy.
I'm sorry.
So my anecdote is this, to ego and imagination. Wherever you are, whatever you do, always consider the state of your mind. And then also knowing that our impulses aren't always accurate. Have you ever been in a situation where your impulse led you astray? Your impulse betrayed you.
I'm sure.
Sure.
I'm sure
I know
is.
I have, because sometimes it's like oh, I should have just waited.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there is. I probably lean. I lean too much. Probably I overdo it as far as being trying to gather information. Sometimes I can overdo it and take too long. But I'm sure there were times I've been impulsive, and it came back and bit me in the butt later. I'm sure, but I can't really think of a time right now.
I know for a fact for me, being impulsive hasn't always served me well because I might have said something
Yeah.
I didn't intend to say, or I might have fueled the flame and made something bigger than it needed to be.
Yeah.
And I might find myself in trying to be confrontational and end a or resolve a conflict. I actually now have to apologize for my behavior because I'm like, yeah, we could have just not had even, it shouldn't even have gone there.
Far.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
You know, I should have asked first. You know,
I know there is.
There's
It's something on the tip of my tongue or it's the tip of my mind that I'm thinking, but I can't. But yeah, I'm
But
sure.
you get it?
Yeah,
You
I know. I
understand.
know I've done that
Yeah.
for sure. So
Yes. So as we're talking about that, we're just talking about, the breach and how our ego and imagination can really get in the way. Now we know how to put those things aside. Let's get to the part where it is now time to repair.
Okay then.
Okay?
All right.
Hey there, are you enjoying the conversation as much as we are? Then let us know. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're here every other Thursday with a brand new episode, and you do not want to miss it. Okay, all right, back to the conversation. Okay, this is the crux of the matter for me, right? This is what separates all of the other fighters from the champion fighter, right? This is where it actually counts.
This is
The repair part, right?
This is not leaving your opponent half dead, right? There you go.
Thank you. You know?
You're welcome.
And that goes back to checking our intentions and making sure that we want to call people in to us. Okay? I really do. I hate being at odds with you. And I hate going and doing the work of conflict management
Don't even
and conflict resolution.
Don't even get me started on that stuff, because that I was about to say crap, but it's crap, but it's not crap because it's conflict happens. I hate that crap. I hate it, man. We might talk about more about this, but I hate the awkward moment. You know what I mean? When you finally repair and you got that awkward, whatever you want to call awkward energy, and you still kind of do this little tiptoe dance, and and it's so and repairing is so humbling. You have to humble yourself, man.
Yeah.
And you got to eat. You got to eat some stuff.
Eat crow.
It's like a crow, or it's like getting a big old plate of something that you don't really want to eat, but you got to eat it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You got.
I mean, that would be crow for me.
Yeah, crow, whatever. I don't know what. I'm just saying, it's
tastes
like you.
But I mean, okay.
Yeah, you have to eat it.
You just have to.
You have to. You got to sit there and take it like a G.
Well,
anyway, go ahead.
I would say take it like a champ. You got to give it like a champ and then take it like a champ.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's such an unpleasant experience. However, if it is done effectively, like what we have learned and are still learning and what we are sharing and hoping that you guys listening in to us are also gaining wisdom and insight from, is that if we can navigate through this unpleasant experience in a way that is effective and it leaves the relationship intact or better, right?
Right.
Then it will be worth it.
Yeah.
Because not knowing how to do it, the alternative is a lot of broken relationships, a lot of dead ends,
Yeah.
a lot of cut ties. Because most people don't want to do the part we're about to talk about. Let's be clear.
It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. But maybe it goes back to personality, or just this is just true for everybody. Like I just want to get to the end of something. I don't necessarily like the process, the going through the mud and whatever however you want to call it, the minutia and I just want to get to the other side.
Yeah, that would be hopeful.
Yeah. So that's all.
That's
the crap I'm talking about. Is you got to go through that, but it's good. I don't want to keep sounding so negative about it like that because I don't want,
Well, it is unpleasant.
It's unpleasant. It's unpleasant. But when I value our relationship and I value you. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to, to go through that dirt and mud and all that stuff. And it's good.
I'm gonna make a quick aside here. Do you think this is the quote unquote work that people say is what makes marriage hard? Marriage is work.
Mm-hmm.
Are they talking about this stage here of repairing after conflict?
I think that's definitely one of them. I think another one is just the sacrifice that we have to do at times. You know what I mean? Whether it's your time or something that you may want to do, but I don't, and we have to go another direction. Another way. Mm-hmm. I think it's all that kind of stuff. Maybe if you use this, dying to yourself, because you do have to die to yourself. At times.
I hate that phrase.
Yeah, well,
oh my gosh.
But it's true though.
Mortify your members and die to yourself sounds so egregiously ridiculous.
But it's true. Regardless of how you feel what the phrase sound like, but you do have to put, if make it a little better, you have to put yourself on the back burner at times.
I don't agree. Okay, I'm not going to get into
Yeah, you are. No, because you always start off like that. I'm not going to get into it, but then you're going to get into it.
All I'm going to say is I don't think anyone has to put themselves on the back burner. Stay on the front burner. There's more than one burner on every stove, right? Allow the other person to be on the burner next to you, right? I enjoy cooking, so I can deal with what's in my pot on my burner. Mm-hmm. And I can tend to what's going on in the other burners at the same time, When
I'm saying putting yourself on the back burner,
I guess that's just me being. I don't like that language, and I don't like that culture that teaches that kind of stuff about. So especially in conflict.
But if you don't like it, that don't mean it's not. That's not what it is. Let's use a little positive, or more of a positive example.
I like the language. Sorry. Go ahead.
This is my story.
It's your time.
This is my thing. Reclaiming my time. So, let's just say you and I are planning a vacation. Mm-hmm. I'm very strong. I want to go to Vegas. I'm like strong on that.
Okay.
And you you want to go to New York.
Okay.
It's still a vacation. It doesn't matter. But, sometimes for the sake of moving along or whatever, I would say, okay, let's go to New York. That's me putting myself, what I want, on the back burner. It is.
Okay.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I will climb down off of this.
Your high horse?
I don't know if it's...
Your soapbox?
I will not divert the conversation away. I get what you're saying. I said it a little bit differently in the beginning, and I'm not being condescending with my tone. I'm kind of teasing with myself because I know I don't. There's certain language I do not enjoy, right? So I said I am open to the possibility that the way that I experienced it may not be there. So I leave a little space and I leave a little grace for it to be more than one person's perception, right? So even if I am saying, hey, this is an issue for me and here's why, yada, 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 I'm also open to the idea that you may not agree with me. Mm-hmm. You may not ever see it the way that I see it. And I don't have to move off my platform on it. Like, it could still be a problem and I still may not want to experience it again. Mm-hmm. Versus, well, let me just act like this isn't bothering me. Or if it is, I'm just going to move it to the back push it to the back of my mind and pretend it's not happening the way that it's happening. So if you know, but that might be something else.
Yeah, I'm not saying pretend like it's not happening or to try to minimize your feelings or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there will be times that one of us is gonna have to take a step back on something that we want to do, or maybe we, excuse me, maybe we feel like, I don't know. It's just something somebody's got to take a step back. You know what I mean? So it's not minimizing any of the emotions or the feelings or anything like it's not pretending that, I don't know, that like that's not happen. Something does not happen. Or, I don't know. I'm getting lost in my own words, but it's just the main thing I'm saying, somebody's gonna have to take a step back, and whether you say putting yourself on the back burner or deferring to the other person, whatever language you use, it's still the same. It's still the same outcome.
Okay.
That's all.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
I understand. I think those words inflame.
Yeah.
They infuriate and inflame me to a degree, because I know what it's attached to, that is used to do harm.
And
that's
doing
not
harm.
what you're saying. It's okay. So again, being mindful of the state of mind that I'm in, I allowed my ego, or maybe my imagination, to add more to your story than what you were intending.
Say it louder for the people in the back. No.
Come on, see how easy it happens?
Yeah.
It happens. And as you were talking, I was kind of, I don't know if it's called regulating myself, but I became aware. I was like, those words, and it's connected to these experiences, and it's connected to that, and I'm feeling myself like, I don't like that. And I had to listen to you, and you're saying that's not where I was going. I even caught myself. I don't know if you noticed it, but I said, I don't think that's what you were saying.
Right.
Because I knew I was on
going
a path.
somewhere else, yeah.
Center was right here.
Yeah.
And I went up there to the intersection. And I made a different turn. I didn't stay on center. I didn't stay on center lane.
This tends to happen a lot when we get on this podcast for whatever reason.
It does not.
It does. I'm not saying you getting. I'm saying we both be diverting.
Oh yeah, it happens.
Reclaiming my time.
Okay. Point of order.
Point of order.
And point of information.
Okay.
What are we doing? We're talking about repair and stuff, right? So going back to, I don't know where we started this, but I'll say, when I say calling out versus calling in, I think, number one, let me back up. If you are intending to repair, right? You're willing to do what's necessary to now address the event that caused the breach, or the person, whatever. Minding your intentions is so key, because if you are at a place where you are not ready to call people in, and all you can do is call out, take your time. It's not time.
It's not time.
Take some more time to yourself, and adjust your argument, adjust the position within yourself or whatever, and get to the point where you can communicate with the intention to call someone in, because you want to have an exchange that will allow everybody involved to be better off than where they are now.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking of, all I can do is just call it out as I see it.
Prosecutor, is that what it
is? And you just want to lay out a case, and you don't have any solutions or any pathway forward, you're going to do a lot more harm. And you're going to waste a lot of energy and time.
Yeah.
It's useless energy. Energy that can be better directed somewhere else.
It's
you know
wasted energy.
It's wasted energy. Thank you. And so just we saying that for a reason because we've been married 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some arguments and some fallouts, and I don't even remember all the details about what was going on at the time of that it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember how I felt after, or how I made you feel afterwards. And I'm like, I never want to cause that kind of pain or heartache or distrust or any of that. I don't want to do that kind of work to rebuild because I didn't approach it right in the first place.
If we all could live in a way that we don't, or we can minimize the amount of time we have to repair, God, that would be. I feel like that would just be like over 70-80% of relationship issues. If we try to live in a way that we won't not have to repair. I mean, it should be I don't know. It seems like that's everybody's goal, but maybe it isn't.
I think
you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting off on something. I just want.
The amount of joy that we experience now because we have learned some things. There's an old song. It's in my shondo.
It's in your shondo. Are you gonna sing? Sing, Peaches. Okay.
You were talking about imagine a world if this was happening or whatever, and I was just sitting there thinking, this song doesn't fit, but it might fit. Okay, this is old.
So you telling me you getting off center?
I'm deliberately leaving center.
Okay.
To tell you about the melody, it does not fit.
But the melody fits.
Is that I don't even know why I'm saying the song itself.
Oh my.
Doesn't even fit.
Okay.
It makes sense in my own mind.
Okay.
Okay. Because you said imagine a world.
Imagine a world.
Where
I'm
we're
trying
not
to think of what song you.
It's not anything you're thinking. I said go back to your missionary Baptist days.
I'm thinking about it.
Hymnals.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, what fellowship. Oh, what joy divine.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about, oh man, that's some good fellowship and some
the fellowship. Wow.
See, I told you, I went somewhere else.
Okay.
Leaning on
the
everlasting. I can't stand when you close your eyes and clap. I hate it.
Also, go ahead and sing.
Come on.
Sing,
is that right though?
Yeah.
Oh, what fellowship. Oh, what joy divine. Leaning on the everlasting arms. I don't know.
You ain't
that's
keeping
it.
on beat, but anyway,
I ain't keeping on beat, but that's somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it would be, oh, what joy divine.
Point of order.
To go through marriage and not have to repair as much.
Because it's definitely going to happen because we're human beings. But man,
oh man, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna share. Here's how we would suggest you do it. Number 1, keep the main thing the main thing.
All right now.
When it's time to finally, you done did all your internal work, you done figured out what your intentions are, you're like, I want to call the person in. Keep the main thing, and by that, I mean.
Stay on topic, right?
Yeah. You should be able to explain the topic, issue, and a proposed solution in under 60 seconds.
Right.
If it takes you longer than, I would say, 1 sentence, and that is a huge challenge for a person like me. To get it out in 1 sentence. You can do it in 1 sentence for sure.
I can do it in 30 seconds.
You can do it in less.
Yeah.
I think we timed you once. And
it was like 8 seconds. 8 seconds, yeah.
You were like...
Yeah.
8 seconds and I'm out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my full 60. But I honestly, truly, you should be able to have your issue and your topic and your issue and a proposed solution narrowed down to such a succinct, concise form that it should be done in under 60 seconds.
Why is that important?
I think
I tell you what, for the listener, if somebody goes on a soliloquy for 5 minutes or more, you know what I mean, explaining and, you know what I mean, giving too many examples or whatever, that's that can wear thin and be a little irritating. And then a lot of times that's where other conversations, point of conflict conversations can arise because more things have been said. And anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
Yeah. So
it gets hairy and spirally.
Yeah.
On a tangent. And so, nobody wants to sit and listen to that for 5 minutes of you trying to explain why they're the bad guy. No.
Yeah.
And also it helps to frame the issue in a way where you are very clear on what is needed to resolve it. So it shifts our minds from it happened, it happened, you.
Sorry, sack of crap.
Yeah, and it's like, so now what do you want the person to do with that?
Right.
So it shifts and frames it in a way and structures it in a way where you're very clear about what you want to gain from it.
Yeah.
And what is useful to the other party.
Right.
Okay? So you got an example?
I got an example.
I cleaned out our garage this past weekend and I needed to.
Yes. Robin loves doing a lot of crafts and projects and rehabbing things. So we have a lot of stuff in our garage that is not mine. So, sometimes the garage gets a little cluttered and all that stuff. So, that's an issue for me. So here's our example of how to bring an issue. What is it? An issue?
The topic,
issue, and the solution. I say, hey, Robin, I know you like doing a lot of projects, whatnot. So you got to have a lot of stuff in the garage. But the issue for me is you got stuff you got stuff on my side of the garage, your side of the garage, and it's kind of making a tight space for me when I pull in and trying to get out. So the solution, I won't say it like that, but but the solution would be, can you please just keep my side of the garage clearer so I can get in and out without any issue? And that'd be the end of it. Instead of now the less effective way to maybe bring that up to you would be like, you do all this shopping, you go to Home Depot, you go thrift stores and Hobby Lobby, you got all this stuff in there and I can't even get out. You know what I mean? We talked about this stuff. We talked about this. I don't like it when the garage gets full and all that stuff. Then we had to clean it out. I'm cleaning out stuff that I didn't have anything to do with it. And I'm down here cleaning it out on my vacation. Like, come on, work with me here.
We've had those.
We had I've said those kind of things. It's like, got all this stuff in the basement. It's just, what is this? We thought, ready to toss all this, so. And that really didn't, even though you did understand what I was saying, I don't think it made you feel good when I was saying it like that. It may not land it very well, but.
No, because I got defensive. Yeah. I was like, I need my stuff. It's all my stuff.
You don't need all this. You got 5 different
sets of nightstands.
Yeah. You got all these flowers.
Oh, don't touch my flowers, please. Please.
Sticks.
Come back.
I'm back.
The garage is my happy place. Listen. Please come back.
I'm here. But I'm remembering the feeling.
Yes.
That I have when it's been a couple times. You mind if it's been a couple times I come home from work and I get ready to pull into the garage and there's stuff on.
I still got my paint station set up.
So I had to get out of the car, move the stuff. I'm just kind of messing with you.
No, I'm laughing, but it's very serious because I will forget.
I had to get out and all that stuff. And there's been times I open up and my door hit something over there and it's like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen, stop. Listen, whatever state you're in, whatever you're doing, always be aware of the state of your mind.
Yeah.
Is your mind here?
My mind is here.
Are you back to your regularly scheduled program?
It's split. I'm just thinking about some stuff and then I'm still here listening to what you got to say. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's me. That is totally me.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we have reached the point where I'm like, okay, I got to get this ish done.
Yeah.
Or out of your space at least, you know, and that's fair. Because, yeah, so
That's a compromise.
this is a real life marriage, y'all.
It's a compromise. 'Cause I'd rather for it to be all just, yeah.
You are truly a minimalist, and I am not at all. So yeah, but so yes, you were able to identify what the issue is and offer a solution.
Yeah.
And it's easier. It lands better,
Yeah.
you know, when I'm in the right frame of mind. Now, if you would have done it a different way, usually I would get defensive, or I would say, well, what about your shoes by the door? Or what about, you know, I might pivot and do something else.
And go on.
Stuff be everywhere, and I have to deal with that. So if I got to deal with it up here, you
So
deal
you
with
talk
it down
about
here.
one pair of shoes versus your everyday. That's how we'll go.
And
That's how it can go.
So
you talk
keep
about
the
one
main
pair of
thing-
shoes to all that stuff you got in the garage. There's no comparison. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Depends.
It's no depends on anything.
Listen,
One pair of shoes. Anyway, go on.
and this is why we
Carry
say, keep the main thing.
The main thing.
The main thing. What are we talking about, and what are we trying to resolve
Yeah.
at this moment? And the next thing is, and I think practicing that, trying to get it out in one sentence or saying it in under 60 seconds, especially if you're a chatty person like me, and you like using a lot of colors to color in the black and white facts. Oh, the people on the opposite end, some of them people don't want to hear it. You know, a person is like,
Yeah.
girl, if you don't get to the point.
Yeah, it is like that. I mean, not gang up on Shelby there or anything like that, but it does. It feels like that because it's like, okay, just almost. It's kind of like just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And you will do that.
yeah.
You will try to rush me to the solution
Yeah,
part
but
of
that
it.
don't
And I'm
work-
like,
that don't work
and
either.
I'm still explaining
Uh-huh.
the issue. You're like, get it.
Yes.
Get on down the road with this girl. And I'm like, listen, imagine
Because
we're
we
in the
just
car.
did that. We just did that with the umbrella. Because you remember we was putting up the umbrella on the deck. Because I asked you one question, and then you was trying to explain us. I was like, Robin, I just want to know, do you think this will work over here? That's all I want to know. And then you wanted to explain.
Listen,
And I'm,
I take the scenic route.
yeah. And I was like, okay, I gotta sit here. I know my face was like, wasn't a very pleasant looking face. But I was like, Robin, that's all I want to know. That's not anything else. But I don't want to know about anything else. Just tell me, you think this is gonna work right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And I was walking you through my process. Let me know if you guys are listening. Let us know in the comments. Are you a person that, let's use the example of maps. Again, see, color. I'm adding color to my stories. Yeah. Okay, so say you got to punch in your address and you're asking Siri, help me to get from A to B, right?
Right.
Siri's going to give you a few options.
Yeah.
She's going to say the quickest route is
XYZ.
XYZ.
Yeah.
And then there are other options there. Are you the type of person that what's the quickest route? Just get me through this, get me to my destination. Or are you more like me? Take me on a journey. I want to do the scenic route.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to drive, I know I can get to Kansas from 435, from 35 to 635.
Yeah.
I know I can, but maybe I want to do the long route. And I want to drive through the plaza. And then I want to cut through War Parkway and go over the state line and do, maybe I want to do more of the scenic route because along that way I get to stop at all my cute little shops.
Yeah.
And it's a better route.
I'm moving from center. You remember years ago we went to Memphis? We drove to Memphis and we went the scenic route through Arkansas and all that stuff. You remember that at all? Do you remember that? That I struggle with that because I know you can go 70 to 55. That's
okay.
a straight.
Oh yeah, we did.
Because I was like, that's
we
quicker.
Did.
It's quicker that way. But
yeah.
you. So yeah, you definitely like to a lot of times do the scenic route in all your life,
Yes.
in your entire life.
Yes.
So anyway, back to center.
Yeah. I like that. You have a
I was
better
like,
understanding of each other.
because I was like,
We can get there
faster
faster.
this way, or it's whatever, you know what I mean? I don't think it was that much faster, but I think it might, whatever. But every minute counts for me.
It does.
Anyway,
And I
go
bet
on.
whoever's
Yeah.
listening to us, they're like, if y'all don't give us the rest of these tips to be a champ and repair these things,
I know.
we don't know what we're going to do
We're
with
sorry.
y'all.
I'm sorry.
We're going to get to it, okay? So I'm going to bring us back
Yeah.
to Center Lane. Last year, I had the opportunity to listen to a world champion debater. His name is Bo Co. I listened to his interview with Adam Grant, and he was sharing tips on being the world's greatest debater. He holds several titles, and then he wrote a book around it. And basically, he was talking about how to argue better and how he uses skills he learned from debate, speech and debate, in his real life exchanges with people.
Okay.
And so one of the things he mentioned was that, because we're still talking about keeping the main thing. If you've ever been part of speech and debate, or you ever watched a debate, or presidential, whatever, there are rules and guidelines that they have to follow.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so in the spirit of that, he mentioned that setting ground rules. Sorry, you made me laugh till a tear, so now my eyeliner is making my eyes
My
itch.
job is done.
Yeah. Setting ground rules before when you're starting. Like, everybody needs to be on the same page. And
Right.
so he's saying that every disagreement must start with an agreement. And that agreement should be around the ground rules of how this exchange is going to take place. So some of the ground rules that we have shared, we gleaned from him, but also some of the ground rules could include what the topic is, ground rules around time. How much time are we going to devote to this exchange? And I do believe in setting a time limit.
I do too.
I think too much time on a topic, again, lends itself to be a bit much.
You start to lose focus.
You lose focus, yeah.
You get tired, get weary. You know what I mean? You're like, I just want this to end. So sure, whatever you say, just so it can be over.
You know
what I mean? So
yeah, I think time is a good thing too. And also, under the sake of time, I would say the courtesy of the other party's time as well. For example, even asking, is this a good time to talk about this now?
Yeah.
And allowing the other person to share, yes, it is, or no, could you give me 5? Could you give me 10?
That's the key. You got to, if it's not a good time, you got to give a clear, when can you do it? Can't just keep saying no.
Yeah.
It's an indefinite amount of time, you know what I mean? So it has to be followed up. Not now, maybe at 6 o'clock, or maybe this weekend. I need a lot of time. Whatever the time frame is, but just set it and stick to it.
Yeah, and even if, in addition to that, around time, when you think about something we tried to do in our earlier years, was we tried to have a day dedicated to when we would discuss anything related to our marriage. So we were trying to have a designated family meeting time, and we called it Marriage Monday, where we would whatever needs to be addressed, let's address it at that time. And we were not as skillful, and we were not as diligent. And I think we both were like, I don't want to meet up for Marriage Mondays no more. This stuff it ruins my week.
It can.
It can, because we didn't know how to do it the best way.
Right.
We were winging it. But look at us now.
Look at us.
We learned. We still learn. So that could be something else, is setting a time to have conversations, and that way both parties can show up in the right frame of mind to give and receive, right? That's all the time we have for today, but we're definitely continuing the conversation in the next episode. You don't want to miss it. Before you go, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate, follow, do all of those things that will let us know you enjoyed the conversation and that you support us. That would really encourage us to keep going. So until next time, thank you so much for listening and take care.